Guys, I want to welcome you to another episode of the Franchise Advisory Board, where we bring in experts in franchising to share their experiences so that you can learn from their wins, their failures, and also build a memorable brand that will continue to thrive. I've got with me a really cool guest today, guys. Brad Coleman he was a former NASCAR driver. So all you folks in the Midwest that are hardcore, you're going to love this. And Brad, as he was in his NASCAR career, had some pretty cool experiences that eventually led him to buy a brand, convert it to a franchise, and build a really cool brand. The Safeway Driving brand is actually a phenomenal brand all throughout Texas. That's where they were founded. But I just found this out right before, so I want to brag on them. If a student driver graduates from the Safeway Driving program, then they are almost half as likely to get into an accident as any other graduate from any other program. That's pretty freaking awesome, Brad. So anyway,
Yep.
there's a lot more. They've grown the brand from 5 to 22 units. Recently reacquired it, and that's going to be part of what we talk about today. But Brad, would you tell us a little bit? Tell us about brag a little bit on NASCAR, please, and but then tell us how did you get involved? The story about how you got involved in this driving school is actually super cool. Would you share that with us, please?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Dave. And I'll brag a little bit about NASCAR, but I can't brag too much because you don't get car parts without crashing. So there were some crashes involved, which every NASCAR driver goes through. But I grew up in Houston, Texas, loved racing my whole life and wanted to be a race car driver. And long story short, started to get to do that when I was 13 years old, racing go-karts. Moved into cars when I was 14. I was at the time the youngest person to be professionally licensed to race cars in the United States. And right after I started doing that, I needed to get my driver's license. So, being in Houston, I went to the place everyone goes to, which is Safeway Driving, and got my license, went through the whole deal, sat in the classroom, went through the deal with the instructor. Only one of them found out I was a race car driver, but got my license and then off I went. Ended up racing in NASCAR for 6 years and had a great career doing that. And while I was racing NASCAR, Nationwide Insurance was one of our big sponsors at the time. And they would have us drivers when we were traveling the country on the circuit to, whatever city we were in for that race, we would go to one of the high schools and we would talk to the teens there about the dangers of distracted driving. For me, when we first started doing it, it was a sponsor obligation. Like, I don't want to go hang out with these high school kids. They make me feel nervous. I wasn't one of the cool kids in high school. But when you get like a race suit on, it like adds a little bit of credibility. So we would show up and we'd have a racing simulator. They would start driving and then we'd hand them a phone. They'd start crashing all over the place. And I mean, as high school kids do, they would try to be cool in front of their friends and be crashing all over the place. But I started noticing that when they're in their eyes, there was something clicking. Like there would be a brief moment where they would start to crash and they would realize, like, I'm actually a worse driver when I'm holding my cell phone. And then they'd go back to trying to be cool. But it really sparked something inside of me because I had a near crash on the street, texting and driving, that just changed my life and that I will not pick up a phone at all when driving. And with that happening in my life and seeing these kids being impacted, I was like, man, I'm not going to race forever. I would love to do something where I can just help people be safer drivers. So, talked to my dad about this passion that I was starting to just spark up. And he
Mhm.
said, well, why don't you go back? We'll go to Houston. Why don't you talk to your old coach Walker, who owns Safeway Driving, and tell him about this passion, see what he says. So, met with him, and turns out it was the perfect timing. He was wanting to retire and sell his business, and me and my family, we bought it and off we went.
That's amazing. Well, what a great, I'd say the most unique story of anyone who found their way into franchising that I know so far. I'm
Oh,
gonna have
wow.
to
Thank you.
introduce you to a friend of mine who's from Philly that races. He races Corvettes and stuff like that. But
Mm.
I've once beat his lap time in go-karts, but I think I got lucky, and he got bogged down behind some people. But
Oh,
anyway,
there's always, oh yeah. Racers always have excuses.
yeah, no, legit though, there were some bad drivers in our group,
Okay.
so I just happened
He
to
needs to
pass
move
him.
him out of the way next time.
Yeah, no. Anyway, that's a funny story for another time. When we meet up next, I'll tell you about that. But guys, one of the reasons I wanted Brad here like that. His experience getting into franchising is one thing, but there was a lot of unique stuff that happened. And Brad, I want to ask you first. Well, you guys bought a brand that it's 52 years old now, right? And so this is like the oldest driving school program, not like, but it is the oldest driving school program in Texas,
Mm.
which, if you guys don't know, is a huge state with lots of people, you know, so that's kind of a big claim. Now, you guys had to breathe some life and kind of revitalize this brand before you guys ever got into franchising. Can you share some things like what did you guys do to revitalize it? I'd consider driving schools, it can feel kind of mundane and boring and dry. And so what did you guys do to make it more sexy and fun and attractive to youth and their parents?
Man, it might be quicker to say what we didn't do to go through that list, but it was actually a really cool combination because my dad, who was my manager when I was racing, was his life before that. He was a branding and marketing. I mean, I'd call him a guru. He ran an ad agency, a marketing firm for his whole career. Did a great job with that. So he had a lot of this expertise that when we acquired Safeway, I brought the driving expertise. Coach Walker had created a brilliant system. We didn't need to recreate anything. I just updated some things and modernized some things from my front. And then he did the same thing from his with the branding and really the customer experience. He's really good at creating a customer experience that is a fun place to be and in a nice place that just everything it just fits. So we went to work in gutting the locations that we acquired because they were all what you would expect of driving schools with carpets and filing cabinets and chalkboards and overhead projectors and all that stuff all over the place. So we went in and immediately just gutted it. Concrete floors, guardrails on the wall kind of feel. It made it feel like a car place. We took the cars, which were older cars that you would imagine for driver's ed, that so one of them had a hole in the floorboard that we pulled back the rug and discovered there was a hole there. And we're like, yeah, this isn't going to fly. So we took the NASCAR background that we had with the branding expertise that NASCAR does so well, totally redesigned the cars, put big bright stickers on them so you can't miss that it's a Safeway driving car and that there's a student driver in it. And it's just very recognizable. Really just gutted something that was doing a really good job and just modernized it and everything we did.
Yeah, now you mentioned to me off camera before you also had some new ideas of how you could infuse this passion you had for safe driving into the curriculum to take what was already good and make it even better. What did you do there? That's I mean I think that's kind of unique and some of it's your secret sauce. So share what you can. But I'd be curious how you also took something that's kind of drab and boring and then made the curriculum itself something that helps the brand to be more successful.
Yeah, Coach Walker, the guy who started Safeway Driving, he did such a brilliant job creating the curriculum. He was one of the original driver's ed people in all the United States, very well respected, no matter where you go in the driver's ed industry. So it's not that I needed to come in and be like, oh, I'm the expert, I'm going to fix everything. It was really taking what he had and bringing my experience, which a lot of people are skeptical because why would I listen to a NASCAR driver who's going as fast as he can on how to be safe on the road? Don't you drive like an idiot? And it's like, no, I'm one of the most boring people to ride with. And if you think about being a race car driver, yes, you go as fast as you can, but how else do you win? You avoid crashes
Hmm.
and you're constantly analyzing your competitors. What is their next move going to be? Where are they going? Where
Hmm.
do I put myself to be in the best position to win this race? So having that situational awareness translates really well to driver's ed. So where I first started applying it was just updating and improving how we trained our instructors because that's really the root of everything. The kids get in the car with an instructor, they need to know that they are highly trained, that they are safe to be with, and they're going to do a great job. So we just streamlined that and improved it and made it just more consistent between all our instructors, and that has proven to work a ton.
Yeah. And then tell me a little bit about, because we talked about this before, but what were some of the changes you made? Because obviously, being almost half as likely to get into an accident after someone goes through your program, that means a lot, right? So clearly, curriculum's different and the training methodologies are different, right? So, what are some of the trainings changes you made to the training of the drivers themselves?
Well, the training was when we showed up was all in a folder. If you wanted to be an instructor, you were handed this folder and you would go through and you had pages you had to fill out.
Hmm.
And it was really just old school. And then you would get in the car with another instructor and get trained up. But it was not the most consistent. And where I saw opportunity, because in racing, everything is so precise, like
Mhm.
precise. Even the schedule for the race weekend, they're like 11:31, we're singing the national anthem. Like not 11:30, 11:31. And when it clicks 11:31, they're doing it.
Mhm.
So I took that precision and consistency to the instructor training, immediately created an online curriculum for the instructors, somewhere where they could log in and every instructor was going through the same curriculum. I created videos of actual in-car trainings. I got in the car with a kid and we went all the way through the program and I trained him, recorded all of it, and put that in the instructor training. So all the instructors are seeing the same thing. So it's consistent. Because if you get in the car with one instructor for training and then you get in the car with another one, it could be a little different. So this helped things be consistent, which has been super helpful in bringing on new instructors and has been a big part in um, doing those stats that you talked about of
Mhm.
our students having, almost half the chance of getting in a crash is almost half of your average driving school here.
Yeah, I love it. Well, and you're saying the things that, anyone who's in franchising, they're hearing the things I'm hearing, right? Like, oh,
System.
you're systematizing things, you're making it consistent. Like every instructor should be able to deliver the exact same outcomes. How do you do that? With tools and systems to support them to keep them within the safe range of what they should be teaching. So love that. Invested heavily in getting curriculum training videos produced, getting an online curriculum up and running. Like that's not an inexpensive nor a simple thing to do, but in your industry, frankly, everyone should be doing things like that. But you led the way, and having a NASCAR celebrity being the spokesperson is probably with the kids got a little bit more I don't know interest than a 60-year-old person that's been doing it for 20 years. So I think I can see what you've done there. And you mentioned this in passing, but situational awareness is a big part of what you guys do. Trying to make sure that the students are understanding what's happening around them, what are they likely to do, anticipating movements. That's not a common core part of every, I mean, it's talked about, but usually it's a checkbox in most training programs of be aware of what's going on around you.
Mhm.
See the dog over there? See the ball on the street? Okay, we're good. Moving on. Let's talk about gas pedals and brake pedals. It feels like it's more of a rote thing, and it feels like that's maybe a key differentiator in what you guys do as well.
Well, yeah, one of the reasons our stats are so good is we don't just say, okay, be aware of your surroundings. We give you tools and we do exercises and we perform different maneuvers to help you become more aware of your surroundings. So we use a tool called commentary driving. We have you verbalize what your eyes are doing. So
Hmm.
instead of saying, "Oh, just make sure you're clearing when you go through the intersection," no, the student will call out clear left, right, center, like anywhere their eyes are. We have them verbalizing it because it creates these habits which make them more aware of their surroundings and situations and make them much safer.
Love that. That's cool. Almost sounds like military lingo as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the precision side of it's similar. Well, this thank you for the quick update, like walkthrough of how did you guys increase the value of the brand. This is all kind of pre-franchising, but then you guys started to franchise the business, and then you had somebody approach you guys that was like, hey, can I buy it? Can you like tell us what I wanted to focus on a little bit today, guys, is also how do you understand what are the implications of selling your business? What should you be looking for? Everyone who's done this probably has learned more things than they thought they would learn in the process. So, if you don't mind, Brad, tell us just a little bit about kind of historically, what happened when you guys got to that point, and why did you feel like that was a good idea to sell your brand years ago?
Yeah, well, first I'll get into, because it's right around the same time as selling, as to why franchising versus corporate growth, which
Yeah, please.
for us, we were looking there analyzing, okay, we've revitalized this brand. It is humming along. Now let's get it in front of more people, because the more people that go through Safeway driving, the state of Texas, their crash stats are going to go down. We see it and we know we're making an impact. Let's get it in front of more people. So yeah, we can have corporate stores, but I don't want to have we didn't want to have the feel of a big corporation that was just placing in places and not really involved in the community. And so we looked at franchising and we went, well, if you have these people that are in their community, that have lived there, that their kids have gone through school there, that they have friends and family there, they really care about the people and they want to see them positively impacted. Well, let's get them to have a franchise and get all their friends to go through and help improve their community, because you can save lives while making money. It's really a great opportunity. So that's why we wanted to do franchising, because we saw the value in a local owner, small business feel that really cares about their customers and their community. So we decided to do that. And right around the same time, there was a local group of investors here in Houston that had been here a long time, had seen Safeway before we bought it, had seen the transition it went through, and were really interested and wanted to be a part of that. So they talked to us, and we ended up selling the majority of the stake of the company to them and to start growing.
Yeah, and really the idea, what were the motivations? Like obviously it's kind of exciting when you sell business. I know because I've been there before. So, but what were the real like underlying motivations for trusting the business in the hands of this investment group?
Well, they were a lot of very smart businessmen that had a lot of experience in other forms of business that wanted to be a part of it. And we saw an opportunity for them to bring their expertise and just the extra capital to help fund the growth. Is basically what it was.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it was you built this awesome baby, right? And you wanted it to go out in the world and expand faster than you thought you could do it on your own. I'll be honest, many people I talk to that are considering or have sold, that's why. They're like, look, like some people are like, hey, I wanted to cash out. I was tired. I worked hard. You were, I mean, with the size you weren't there yet. It was a, man, we're passionate about growing this thing. What's the fastest way to do that? These people, right?
Mhm.
And so I want to make sure, like, one, everyone should acknowledge why you're wanting to sell. When you get to that point, is it am I fatigued? Am I spent? Is this the right move? Is this better for my franchise owners because there are more resources coming in? There are so many reasons to do it. But tell us now, Brad, what happened next? And what was your experience after the sale? Anything you feel comfortable sharing about that? And then obviously things changed after that. So let's lead into that part of this discussion. It's a pretty interesting experience.
Yeah, so I had a small, I'd say a small ownership stake when we first acquired it. It was my dad and my mom had the bigger one, and I was a minority owner with what I could put forward. And so when these group investors came in, we didn't want to sell all of it. We still wanted to be a part of the operations of it because we love Safeway.
Mhm.
So they came in, and my stake got even smaller. But I was still part of it, still with the curriculum and the training and all that. And after about a couple of years, it got to where just the majority of owners just wanted to kind of change the direction and the growth strategy away from franchising. They, after trying it for a bit, for some reason, just wanted to turn it off. Of course, we still had franchisees. I mean, I think we awarded, sorry, 16 franchise locations in the first year. So there was a lot of people that were interested. And so yeah, it just kind of stopped franchising and just supported them after that.
Mhm. Yeah, and then but something shifted where the opportunity came up where you could actually buy the brand back. I mean, do you mind sharing a little bit about that? I think I'd be curious to hear what was the motivation behind that, and then we'll talk about what's happened next.
Yeah, it was almost 8 years, is 7 years later after the initial sell to this investment group, that I just started the fire inside of me started coming back, and I was talking to franchisees, and I was hearing a lot of opportunities and areas for growth that to me seemed like why aren't we doing this? Like, let's go after this. Let's support them in these areas so that they could do what they do best, and that's be
Mhm.
in their community and be involved. Like, there are areas where we can really step it up, which we're going to take some capital and some money to do. So they were going to be expensive to update systems and improve online curriculums and stuff like that. And I just right place, right time kind of thing, had the opportunity with the ownership group to, I just offered to acquire all of them out and to take the company. And they agreed, and I got to do it. And man, I got to go to work, and I've been pumped doing it. It's been a lot of fun.
Now, how long ago was that you bought the business back?
A little over 3 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so now You made, I mean, here's the cool part. Like you were there, you built it, you sold it, and then you this is kind of unique because then you bought it back. Now I've heard of that happening before, but it's not very common. So tell me, like, what are some of the things that you did to reinvest in the brand once you bought it? You said there were a few things you saw opportunities
Mhm.
all over the place. So share, if you don't mind sharing, what were some of the things that you did that were priorities to you to help the franchise owners be more successful?
Yeah, well, the very first thing I did was I brought in one of our franchisees to be the president of the company because he knew he's been a part of his location day to day. He knew the operations, and talking to him, he knew the things we needed to do to improve. So I brought him on. Literally, I signed the papers. He walks in the door, like, let's go to work. And the first thing we did together is we went and met with all of the franchisees, just one on one, went to wherever they were, met with them, and just asked them questions, asked them about their experience. You know, what are the positives? What are the things you'd like to see improved? What are the really pain points for you? What's getting in your way from being more successful? And
Hmm.
gathered that list. And we had learned that number one is the online curriculum is old. It doesn't work very well. The technology is outdated. So we went to work and updating the online curriculum, which was very expensive and a long year-long project, but has been incredible. Our new one just worked great, and all the other things that they wanted, we did. Like, we listened to them and we started executing on all the aspects that they were talking about, and that led from franchisees that were honestly not very happy, which I know happens a lot in franchise systems. And you had some that were wanting out, or some that, maybe they might want to sue us. I don't know, like, what's going on. And then
Yeah.
they saw, like, okay, they're listening to us, but they're actually taking action on what we're talking about. And you all of a sudden had franchisees acquiring more territories and wanting to get more. So it's been a really cool transition.
Yeah, that's incredible because people vote with their money, with their feet, depends on
Mm.
what the circumstances are. But if you have owners, and we've all seen this, and everyone in franchising knows owners. I was a multi-unit franchise owner with my wife, and there were times where we were thinking this is the best decision we ever made, and some days we're like, what have we done? Like, and sometimes you oscillate between those pretty rapidly as a franchise owner. It's like I personally, I get that. But to see franchise owners that go from like, hey, I'm mad enough, maybe it's time for arbitration, to I want to buy some more territories. That's an incredible turnaround. How do you feel the culture of the brand has changed as you guys have really focused on using you got one mouth and two ears, and God made us that way for a reason, not just because we look weird with two mouths, but because we need to listen more. So how did that change the culture of the brand as you guys started to really listen and they saw you were implementing what they were giving you feedback about?
Yeah, it's really interesting because I think, yeah, all of our franchisees that came in when we first opened it up, they wanted to make a difference in their communities. They cared about the mission of Safeway. Our purpose is to prevent the phone call nobody wants. Like, that's why we exist. We're here to make our community safer. Our number one value is safety. And it was getting back to that. They were having to worry about day to day things that they shouldn't have had to worry about, which was keeping them from pursuing the purpose of Safeway Driving. So I was actually having a conversation with one of our franchisees like a month ago, and it came up. They're like, man, it for a while it was just all about money and how can we get more money, or how can we do this, or and then he's like, recently though, we're about actually making safer drivers and being safe. And it's like, it's good to get back to that. And that was really, really cool to hear, because we've done a lot of work to really push that our number one thing is safety. Like, that is why we're here. That is what we're about.
Mhm.
And it's just starting to show in all the locations. They're all doing a great job. You see the crash statistics that we've talked about. Like, we're making a difference, and it's cool to see the franchisees pumped about it. Like, when I first shared those stats, I mean, they were absolutely pumped. I mean,
Mhm.
most of them wanted to put it on a shirt and just wear it wherever they went. Like, it's really cool what we're doing.
Yeah. Well, in fact, you probably should have it on a shirt. I'm not gonna lie. That's a great way to advertise it.
Yeah.
Have
Ask me
get,
how I can cut your chances of a crash in half. There's the idea. I'm gonna go make it.
yeah, put a QR code on it. Have your kids wear it to school, and they're walking billboard in the hallways of the school, right?
Yeah.
That'd
I
be
don't know
great.
about them. They'll be crashed. They're 5 and 4. They'll be crashing into everything wearing that shirt.
I love it. Well, so tell me, now what's next? So you guys you've a few years now in. It takes a few years, a small rudder, big ship to get a franchise shifted back in the right direction. Sounds like culturally things are looking really good. Sounds like, the brand. Actually, I do want to go back to one thing, the brand president move. That's a lot of people would disagree that a franchisee still owns his own territories and should be the franchise brand president. I personally love it. But would you tell me, like, how did the franchisees react to that move of you putting one of their own on the throne essentially?
They saw that we meant business. Like when we're going to do what we say we're going to do, because when you bring that person into that position, they're not going to let you just walk all over a franchisee or not hold up a promise because it affects them too. And they know what the other franchisees are going through. They know what they want and what they need. And it was just a really cool opportunity to bring him in and for him to just smack us around a bit and improve some systems and just get us to the level that we are now. He's since gone back to just running his franchise location. He did his work, and his location was calling him back. And he's seen incredible growth the last 3 years, which I'm super proud of. And yeah, I think we would not be where we are if it wasn't for bringing him on. That's for sure.
Yeah, and then how did the franchisees react to the change after he moved back to his territory? Do you feel like that made them realize, okay, they mean business and they're listening? Was that a key part of why that culture started to shift?
Well, he did a good job when he was going back of sharing, like, we're all in good hands now. Like, we've done a lot of work. Things are much better. We're in good hands. And everyone was just confident, from what I saw, that, like, yeah, we've done a lot of work. You've done what you said you were going to do. We've seen a lot of results from it, and on we go. And we're trucking along.
Yeah. Well, so tell me what's next for you guys. Let me get to that question now. You've got a good brand, good operators, and now where are you headed?
Yeah, well, when I came back, yeah, I wanted to what I called repair the foundation. Like, I knew that what Safeway driving could be. I knew the possibility, but I also knew that if we started growing in the current state, that it wouldn't hold itself and that it would just collapse. So we went to work with the president, repairing those systems with the goal in mind of, okay, when everything is repaired and ready to go, we'll open up franchising again. So we did that for 2 years of just hard work and repairing things. And then for another year, we met with a franchise consultant that we use, named Kevin Hogan, been in the franchise world for a long time, done Whataburger stuff and Texaco stuff, and just been a part of a lot of different programs. And he helped us just update all our systems, our operating manual, and our FDD and all that stuff to get prepared to open up franchising again. And a couple months ago, we opened it up, and we've got a new location outside of San Antonio and Shirts. And then we've got one coming to the Highland Park, Dallas area very soon. Hopefully in the next month or two, it'll launch. So it's back.
Yeah, good for you guys. Well, congratulations. The most important thing that I've learned from talking to absolutely stellar franchise operators with tons of experience is that as you're trying to franchise, the most important thing is validation, right? If you've helped those franchise owners be wildly successful, when you have people that are candidates looking to buy into the franchise brand and they call them and talk to them and the energy and the passion they hear, that's contagious, as is the negativity and the frustration if they're not. So it sounds like you guys have really put your money where your mouth is, built up a great brand, and gotten franchise owners into a position where they're happy to talk to people about what's going on.
Mhm.
And that's, I mean, hats off to you and the team because that can take a long time to change. And sounds like you're in a really good spot.
Yeah, it takes a long time to build up that credibility, but man, it doesn't take long to ruin it.
No,
So
no, it doesn't.
we're
No, it
working on
doesn't.
we're gonna keep building that credibility.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Brad, this has been awesome. I would love to know, you were a NASCAR driver. You've done some pretty risky, some pretty crazy, high adrenaline things.
Mhm.
How do you feel that experience of driving NASCAR correlates into what you're doing in franchising today?
Man, it's interesting. I don't want to. It's easy, because I used to risk my life every week kind of deal. I mean, I would be so nervous before every race that I'm like, oh gosh, what's going to happen? And just the butterflies because there's the competition and the sponsor pressure on you, and the whole team is looking at you, and that was a lot of pressure. And then now there's a ton of pressure with running the business. You still got people looking at me and depending on me to provide results, and I'm just built for that pressure. Like because of my racing experience, I can handle that, and I'm like, oh yeah, this feels familiar, but not nearly as bad because not a chance I'm gonna have a tire blowout or I'm gonna hit a concrete wall. Like this is great. It's just business, you know?
Yeah, I know. It's not life and death today, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, I sure appreciate you being here on the franchise advisory board. I appreciate you sharing your insights and your experiences and guys, just there's a ton of stuff I hope you pulled out of what Brad had to share today. About paying attention and and as you're looking at selling, recognizing that things are going to change a bit, and also keeping your eye on the prize, which is helping the franchise owners be wildly successful. If you're doing that, then the rest of it's a flywheel that makes everything else kind of move smoothly. Even though it's not as fast as they ever want, that's 3 year turnaround is really quite impressive. And being on the right path now is great. So congrats on your success. And I anticipate we'll be hearing a lot more of you guys as you continue to grow.
Yeah, thanks, Dave, and I hope so.